Mr. Walter didn't trip. His legs simply gave out. He was a retired carpenter, 76 years old, a man who spent his life building homes, raising a family, and fixing anything that needed fixing. Every Sunday he played basketball with his grandkids. Every evening he walked around his garden, pulling weeds, watering plants, carrying bags of soil like it was nothing. Until one cold February morning. He got up, walked into the kitchen just like always. But this time, when he bent down to pick up a towel that had fallen, his knees buckled, not from pain, not from dizziness, but because his legs no longer had the strength to hold him up. He lay there on the cold tile floor, staring at the ceiling, not because he was hurt, but because something inside him cracked. He had always believed he was still strong, but the truth was, his body had been whispering to him for years. He just hadn't been listening, and that's often how aging begins. Not with a diagnosis, but with a quiet, unexpected moment when your body says, "I can't do this anymore." Still, this wasn't the end of Walter's story. It was the beginning of something else. A wake-up call, because there are signs, subtle, powerful signs, that can reveal how long you might live after 70. And more importantly, how well you might live. The good news is, most of these signs don't require a lab test or a hospital visit. They're right in front of you. You just have to notice them. In today's video, we're going to walk through 7 early warning signs your body might be giving you right now. Signals that show whether you're on the path to strength, independence, and clarity, or slowly drifting toward decline. From how fast you walk, to how you sleep, eat, move, and even how often you connect with others. These little details add up to a big picture, and once you see it clearly, you'll know exactly where you stand, and how to change the course of your future starting today. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you paid close attention to how you move through the world? Because the first sign may already be showing. You might think your genes decide how long you'll live. But what if I told you, it's actually your walking speed that reveals the truth? That's right. Not your cholesterol, not your family history, but how quickly you move across a room. A large study published in JAMA followed over 34,000 adults aged 65 and older, and found something striking. Those who walked slower than 0.8 meters per second had nearly double the risk of death within the next 10 years, compared to those who walked faster. Think about that. Just the speed of your steps could predict your life expectancy, more accurately than your blood pressure or medical records. Why is this so powerful? Because walking isn't just about your legs. It's a full-body task. It relies on your heart to pump, your lungs to deliver oxygen, your muscles to contract, your nerves to fire, and your brain to coordinate every step. When even one part of that system begins to weaken, your walking pace is often the first thing to change. Let me tell you about 2 women, Evelyn and Nora, both 78 years old. Evelyn wakes up early, slips on her sneakers, and walks her dog around the block. She moves with ease, steps steady, posture tall. She even climbs the library steps without holding the rail. Nora, on the other hand, she used to enjoy her morning walks too. But lately, she finds herself slowing down, taking frequent breaks. She hesitates before stepping off the curb, and stairs feel steeper than before. She chalks it up to just aging. But the truth is, her body is sending signals that things are changing on the inside. Slower walking speed isn't just inconvenient. It's a message, a quiet one. That muscle mass is declining. That blood flow isn't what it used to be. That the nervous system is struggling to keep up. It's like a dimmer switch slowly turning down the brightness. You may not notice at first, but one day, the room feels darker. The good news is, unlike genetics, walking speed is something you can actually improve. Start with simple habits. Take short walks after meals. Climb a few stairs each morning. Try walking a little faster for 30 seconds. Then slow down. Repeat. Even 10 minutes a day can begin to rebuild strength in your legs and heart. So the next time you get up from a chair, ask yourself, how long does it take me to cross the room? Do I feel strong? Do I move with purpose? Because your walking speed, might be the easiest way to measure not just how far you've come, but how much time you still have ahead. And if movement reveals the rhythm of your body, then strength tells us whether that rhythm will keep going strong. Let's talk about what your hands can tell you, and why the power in your grip might be even more important than you think. They say a handshake can tell you a lot about a person, but what if it could tell you how long they might live? A firm, steady grip isn't just a sign of confidence. It's one of the strongest predictors of overall vitality in older adults. According to a global study involving over 140 participants, people with weak grip strength had a 16% higher risk of death, a 17% higher risk of heart disease, and up to a 60% higher risk of serious disability. And yet, it's something most people don't pay attention to, because losing strength in the hands happens so slowly, so quietly, that it's often brushed off as just a part of getting older. Let me tell you about Mr. Harold. He's 79, a retired postman who used to carry heavy bags across neighborhoods for decades. One morning, he tried to open a jar of pickles for his grandson and couldn't do it. He laughed it off, said it was just stiff fingers. But then he realized he was struggling with other things too. Holding a grocery bag, turning a doorknob, even buttoning his shirt felt harder than it used to. It wasn't about willpower. It was about muscle loss. His hands were telling him something his doctor hadn't. Because your grip strength reflects more than just your hands. It's a window into your muscle mass, nervous system, and even your brain health. Studies have found a direct connection between weak grip strength and cognitive decline, including higher risk for dementia and mobility loss. The scary part is, most people ignore it. They think, well, I'm old. Of course, I'm getting weaker. But weakness isn't inevitable, and it's not irreversible. You can train it. You can rebuild it, even in your 70s and beyond. Try this. Keep a soft tennis ball by your chair and squeeze it for a few minutes each day. Use light hand grippers during TV time. Carry grocery bags evenly with both hands instead of loading one side. Or stand facing a wall and press your palms flat against it. Hold for 10 seconds. Repeat 3 times. That simple movement alone can reactivate hand and forearm strength. If you're noticing that jars are harder to open, that your handwriting is shakier, that your fingers fatigue more easily, don't ignore it. It may be your body asking you to hold on, not just to objects, but to independence. Because the better you can hold on to things, the longer you'll be able to hold on to your life. And while the strength of your grip is one signal, there's another that's even more subtle, one you won't notice until you fall. Let's talk about your balance, and why standing on one foot might predict more than just your coordination. Can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds? If not, you might want to pay close attention to what your body is trying to tell you. Balance isn't just about avoiding falls. It's about how well your brain, your nerves, and your lower body are working together. In fact, your ability to stay upright on one foot says more about your brain than most people realize. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that people over the age of 50 who could not hold a 10-second one-leg stand had an 84% higher risk of death over the next 7 years. That's not a small number, and it wasn't because they fell. It was because balance loss is often a warning sign of deeper decline. Let me share the story of Ms. Louise. She's 73, a retired teacher with a love for gardening and poetry. One morning at her senior yoga class, her instructor asked everyone to try standing on one foot. Louise smiled and lifted her right leg. But within 3 seconds, she wobbled, lost her balance, and had to grab the chair beside her. She was surprised. She had never thought of herself as unsteady. But when she tried it again later that day at home, she realized the same thing happened. What Louise didn't know is that balance relies on 3 major systems in the body: the muscular system, the vestibular system in the inner ear, and the brain's ability to process spatial awareness. When any of these weaken, even slightly, balance begins to fade, and we don't notice until we do. The problem is, losing balance is often mistaken for clumsiness or just being tired. But in truth, it may be one of the first signs that the brain is aging faster than the body. Thankfully, balance is something you can rebuild, even starting today. Try standing behind a sturdy chair and lifting one foot. Hold for as long as you can. Work up to 10 seconds, then 15. Practice walking in a straight line, heel to toe, like on a balance beam, or gently tilt forward and touch your knees while seated. Small daily exercises like these stimulate the nerves and improve coordination. You can even try eye-closed balance, standing still with your eyes closed for 5 seconds to challenge your inner ear and brain. Each time you train your balance, you're not just preventing a fall, you're reconnecting your body and mind, sharpening the communication that keeps you safe, stable, and independent. So if you've been reaching for walls lately, grabbing door frames when turning quickly, or feeling hesitant on stairs, don't ignore it, because balance isn't just about staying upright. It's about staying in control. And if your body feels unsteady on the outside, it may be time to look inward at how well you're resting each night. Let's talk about sleep and why the way you rest may be the key to how long you thrive. Bill, on the other hand, loves watching late-night TV. He often drinks tea or water before bed, sometimes wakes up 3 or 4 times a night, tossing, turning, checking his phone. By morning, he feels like he hasn't slept at all. Over time, Henry's memory has stayed sharp. His blood pressure is stable, his mood calm and steady, but Bill has started to struggle. He forgets conversations, feels anxious during the day, and recently had a scare with his blood sugar levels. The difference isn't medication or genetics, it's sleep, because good sleep acts like a silent doctor, working behind the scenes, helping you heal, helping you think clearly, helping you stay strong. If your sleep has changed recently, if you wake up often, or feel drained in the morning, it's worth listening to that signal. The good news is, better sleep is often just a few small habits away. Avoid drinking water after 8 p.m. It reduces nighttime trips to the bathroom. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Blue light interferes with your melatonin. Try listening to alpha wave music or nature sounds. They help slow your brain activity gently. And most of all, keep a consistent schedule. Your body loves rhythm, even when the world around you doesn't. A good night's sleep isn't just about feeling better tomorrow. It's about staying sharper, longer, healthier, stronger. So tonight, ask yourself, are you giving your body the chance to repair? Because if you're not sleeping well, you're not healing well. And when the body isn't healing, even the healthiest appetite can't compensate. Let's talk about the next vital sign, what your hunger or loss of it might be telling you. Unintentional weight loss in older adults isn't just a number on a scale. It's a warning. Studies have shown that seniors who lose more than 5% of their body weight in less than 6 months, without trying, have a significantly higher risk of fractures, muscle wasting, and even early mortality. That's because when appetite fades, so does protein intake. And when protein drops, muscles shrink, strength fades, and the risk of falling skyrockets. Let me tell you about Mrs. Susan. She's 74, a retired librarian who used to love cooking. She enjoyed preparing soups from scratch and would bake her famous cinnamon muffins every Sunday morning. But after her husband passed, something changed. She stopped cooking, started skipping meals, and told her daughter, "I just don't feel hungry anymore." In just 3 months, she lost 8 pounds, not because she wanted to, but because food no longer felt joyful or even necessary. At first, her family didn't think much of it. She looked a little slimmer, but still smiled and moved around. Then one morning, she slipped on her back porch and couldn't get up. The fall wasn't serious, but the message was, her body had quietly lost too much muscle, too much balance, too much strength, all because of something so simple, a fading appetite. What most people don't realize is, loss of appetite in seniors isn't just about mood. It can be linked to low stomach acid, digestive enzyme changes, hormonal shifts, or even early signs of cognitive decline. But here's the hopeful part. There are gentle ways to bring appetite back, and help the body get the fuel it needs. Try smaller meals more frequently. Think 5 mini meals instead of 3 big ones. Add protein to things you're already eating. Stir a spoon of Greek yogurt into soup. Sprinkle protein powder into oatmeal or smoothies. Use digestive enzymes. Sometimes, the body just needs a little help breaking down nutrients, especially after 70. And bring joy back to food. Eat with someone. Use colorful plates. Play soft music. Because food is not just fuel. It's also connection, comfort, and care. If you've lost weight without meaning to, or if you feel full too quickly, pay attention. Because your body may not be trying to get thinner. It may be trying to tell you it needs help. And while appetite tells us how the body is fueling itself, there's another factor that tells us how the body is protecting itself. It's how we respond to pressure, uncertainty, and life's emotional weight. Let's talk about stress and why managing it well might be one of the most powerful things you can do to live longer. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, digestive issues, and sleep disorders. Let me share the story of 2 men, John and Richard, both 76, both widowers, both facing the same struggles of aging. John starts every morning with a simple habit. 3 minutes of deep breathing. Eyes closed, hands resting on his chest. He thinks of 3 things he's grateful for, then goes for a short walk before breakfast. Richard, on the other hand, wakes up tense, scrolls his phone before even getting out of bed, worries about the news, the bills, the past, the future. He skips breakfast, rushes through the day, snaps easily, and by evening, he's too drained to sleep. Over time, John's blood pressure has remained steady. He laughs easily, remembers details, and enjoys his routines. Richard has started experiencing chest tightness, forgetfulness, restless nights, and his doctor recently raised concerns about his heart. Same age, same background, different response to stress. Because stress, like any silent threat, doesn't hit all at once. It chips away quietly, until the body can't hold it anymore. But here's the beauty of it. Your ability to manage stress is a skill, not a gift, and it can be strengthened, no matter your age. Start small. Try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7, then exhale slowly for 8. Do this 2 or 3 times a day. Write down 3 things you're thankful for every night before bed. Smile at a stranger. Watch a funny movie. Call someone who makes you feel seen. Because every small act of calm adds up. Every deep breath, every quiet moment of reflection, every laugh heals more than you know. And the more you manage your stress, the more space you give your body to thrive. So if you've been feeling tense lately, if your shoulders feel heavy, if your mind races at night, don't ignore it. Your body is asking for peace, not perfection, just peace. And once your mind is calm and your body is grounded, there's one final piece to longevity that too many people overlook: the power of human connection. And why who you talk to may matter just as much as what you eat. Loneliness can be just as deadly as smoking, and most people don't even realize it. We often focus on physical health, blood pressure, cholesterol, mobility, but emotional health, the feeling of being seen, heard, and valued, is just as important. According to a massive meta-analysis from Brigham Young University, lack of social connection increases the risk of early death by 29%. That's almost the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And yet, millions of older adults spend their days in silence, not because they want to, but because no one calls, no one visits, and reaching out feels harder than it used to. Let me introduce you to Alina. She's 78, a retired school secretary who lives alone in a quiet neighborhood. Her husband passed away 5 years ago. Her children live in other states, and most of her friends stopped calling during the pandemic. For a while, she spent her days watching television, watering her plants, and staring out the window. Nights were the hardest, sleep came late, and the mornings felt empty. One day, at her local library, she saw a flyer for a senior book club. Just once a week, 1 hour. She wasn't sure she belonged there, but she went. That one small decision changed everything. She met other women her age, shared stories, laughed, cried, and for the first time in months, she felt connected again. Within a few weeks, her sleep improved, her mood lifted. She even started writing again, something she hadn't done in years. Because the power of connection isn't just emotional, it's chemical. Social interaction boosts oxytocin, lowers cortisol, and activates brain regions tied to memory and empathy. Human beings were never meant to live in isolation. We're wired to connect, to belong, to be seen. So if you've gone a day, or 2, or 10, without hearing someone say your name, it's time to change that. Call one person each day, even just to say hello. Join a local group. It could be a church gathering, a painting class, a gardening circle, anywhere that gives you a reason to talk, to listen, to be heard, because connection is more than comfort. It's medicine. And if you've been withdrawing, spending too much time alone, waiting for someone else to reach out, don't wait. You reaching out might just save your life, or someone else's. And now that we've uncovered all 7 signs, you might be wondering, where do I stand? And more importantly, what can I do starting today to add years to my life? And life to my years? Let's bring it all together. Your body isn't betraying you. It's asking you to pay attention. Every stumble, every lost pound, every restless night, every missed conversation, it's not the end. It's a signal. Because the truth is, you can't stop aging, but you can slow the decline. The 7 signs we've talked about today: your walking speed, your grip strength, your balance, your sleep, your appetite, your stress levels, and your social connections. Each one is a window, and each one is changeable. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to begin. Maybe it's a short walk this evening. Maybe it's calling your sister. Maybe it's adding a scoop of yogurt to your breakfast, or turning off your phone an hour earlier tonight. Small choices, done consistently, can add years to your life, and life to your years, because longevity isn't just about more time. It's about better time. Time spent strong, clear, independent, connected. So if this video made you think about someone you love, your mom, your dad, a grandparent, a neighbor who lives alone, send it to them. Share this moment, because sometimes one conversation, one message, one video can change the course of someone's life. And if that someone is you, then know this: it's never too late. You're not too old, and your best days might still be ahead.